Why good training still fails on test day. You have a well-trained retriever, but you're still failing on tests. And when that happens, most amateurs kind of look at it the wrong way. They blame the wrong things, or they misunderstand some training concepts. If you ever walked off the line, shaking your head thinking, I just did this in training last week, you're not alone. This is one of the most common misunderstood problems in amateur retriever training. I'm going to help you through it. Good training doesn't automatically mean success at a hunt test. 99% of the time I'm out here wearing white because I want to have success training my dogs. Hunt tests don't test training. They test execution under pressure. And that is the big gap most amateurs miss. Training doesn't include pressure. Most amateur training happens at familiar places with familiar people with predictable setups. Especially if you're training alone, you're setting up the same thing over and over and over again. But hunt tests are just the opposite. You have new grounds, new smells. Again, a lot of strange people the dog doesn't know. Judges, for example, got gallery pressure. Dogs don't fail because they forgot their training. They fail because of the context of the environment that they're in. It's all brand new. Handler emotion changes everything. This is a huge one. I even get a little nervous after doing this for so long, but it helps if I have a little song playing in my head and I can calm myself down. But handlers get nervous, they rush, they overhandle. I've made that point very clear in previous videos. Dogs feel that energy immediately. Most test day failures start at the handler's end of the leash. Amateurs train skills, not sequences. In training, we isolate marks, and then we isolate blinds, and then we try and work on control, which is all great training concepts, but in hunt test, all that is combined. The dog has to stay steady, mark accurately, handle cleanly, and recover from the dog's mistakes. If you never train the full picture, don't expect the dog to paint it on test day. Speed shows up under pressure. Time speeds up. Pressure makes amateurs want to rush through it. Faster sends, faster whistles, faster decisions usually lead to the wrong mistakes. Speed creates, again, those intense mistakes. It's not what you want. Hunt tests don't reward urgency. They reward composure. Failure gets misinterpreted. After a failure, amateurs often say, the dog wasn't ready. The dog had a bad day. Sometimes the dog was fine. The breakdown was preparation, handling, or decision making. If you don't diagnose failure correctly, you train for the wrong things, the wrong fixes. So here's how amateurs fix test day failures. Train in new places. Practice calm setups. Run full sequences. Train yourself, not just the dog. And most importantly, you need to slow everything down. And one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is videotape yourself. You'll find out those minute little things that you're doing wrong, and then you can try and work on that. I didn't learn this by passing. I learned these lessons by failing, and then changed the way I prepare for a test. That is what actually works. If you're an amateur handler who wants training to hold up on test day, subscribe. This channel is all about closing that gap. Train like an amateur and think like a pro. And before we close everything out, again, just some tips and advice. If at all possible, find a good amateur training group. If you can't find a club to join, a dog club, a retriever club, for example, try and find a good amateur group in your area. I like to train with local amateurs in my local gun dog club, with Treasure State Retriever Club. There's a lot of wealth and information there. There's a lot of people there that know what they're doing, and we have a lot of fun training as an amateur. But I also spend time up in about 3 or 4 hours from here, up near Ronan, Montana. And I get in with some amateur trainer groups up there whenever I can. I usually spend about 3 to 4 weeks a year up there, trying to get on new ground, because they have good rotation up there. And there's a lot of great amateurs that have been in the game for a long, long time. And that has helped my dogs in the last 3 years. One running derby, and he made it to the end of almost every derby he ran. I think he got jams in most of them. I think he got a reserve jam in one, but he got 4 jams and a reserve jam out of 6 derbies that he ran. So that was pretty good success for that little dog. And then River, we ran qualifying, and he was close to winning numerous times, and he just broke down on the last bird of the water series on the big long birds. But he would have failed all of those if I hadn't gone up to Ronan and trained with those guys, so I can get into some big water marks and train with the amateur group in my local club up in Elk Park, because we have some big water up there as well. And then I learned from my failures, and I had a fairly decent qual season, and I'm hoping going into the next qual season it's going to be a little bit better. But now that I'm to that point with River in running qualifyings, I want to come down and run some masters and see where he's at there. But I'm not going to do it weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend. You got to break it up. If you can, try and run at most 3 events, 3 weekends in a row. And then you have to take a break for a while. You have to reevaluate your training. You got to look at what happened. You got to try and fix on a few things, because if you just keep going, horrible bad habits are going to pop up, and you're not going to be able to get a handle on it. So slow down a little bit on running. Try and run some tests and then focus on training. Try and run some tests, then focus on training. I come out and train during the week by myself. I only have a couple hours in the morning. I focus on a few concepts and really hone in on those concepts to really cement it into their brains. But if I just did that alone and I didn't train with my amateur groups, there is no possible way I feel that I would be as successful in the hunt test or field trial game. So we simulate a hunt test or a field trial on the weekends in our amateur training groups. And boy, you can really see it in the dogs. Like, they're relaxed right now because they just got done training, but you go to an amateur group training session and man, they're jacked up. They are excited. They're like, whoa, what's going on? You know, so that's the best advice I can give you. A lot of great videos on the channel. Please, please subscribe and enjoy the library. I'm going to try and put some amateur courses, some free amateur courses on the channel as well. There's one up right now, and I'm going to try and make that available fairly soon. Maybe it's not up right now when I'm recording this, but it may be soon. So look for, again, some cards. They call them in on the side of me here, and you'll find access to that. And I think if you go to the channel, I'm not quite sure how that works, but again, there's something called courses, and I've got one course up there right now talking about junior, senior, master, red flags, for example, and things you need to watch for in your training before you decide to punch the button to enter a hunt test. So watch for that course. It's up, or will be soon, on my YouTube channel. All right, everybody. I've rambled on enough for this training session. Again, I'm trying to put out content once a week, and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please, please like and subscribe, because the more people I get to like and subscribe, the more energy I have to do this and pass this information on to you. Good training, everybody. And if I see you at a hunt test, make sure you stop by and say hello. See you on the next one.